Hi everybody, my name's Scott Dawson. I'm the Academic Coordinator for the Students' Union. You've probably worked with me by coming to a masterclass session last year, or maybe from receiving my emails through the mailing list, if you remember those. So you probably will have interacted with me before. What I'm here to talk to you about today is to kind of go over something we've discussed in the past, but explore it in more detail, and that is departmental and university structures and how you can influence them. As a returning rep, you have an opportunity to expand your role, be influential in wider areas, and this is what we want to kind of map out and discuss so that you can reflect on how you could influence those processes going forward. So, real quick recap. As an academic rep, you represent students, you represent their views to something called the Departmental Student Staff Committee, also known as the SSC. You make sure that their ideas are shared here and that any outcomes are relayed back to students. That's your basic process. You may, either by being elected or nominated, become a faculty rep. That normally happens in the first Student Staff Committee of the year. And by becoming a faculty rep, you attend the Faculty Student Staff Committee, which is very much similar to the SSC, but at a wider faculty level, and also get involved more likely in Students' Union projects and the Students' Union Education Committee. They relay things back to your department SSC, and then you as an academic rep can then share faculty-wide issues that may influence students back to them directly. So that's the very kind of cyclical loop that you're a part of. But there is a lot more to it, and we're going to spend a little bit more time looking at departmental influences, faculty influences, and institutional influences. So, departmental level. This is where you can all get involved to a greater or lesser extent. There's more to it than just the departmental SSC, and a lot of these questions you can raise in the SSC itself. So first of all, every department tends to have a learning and teaching committee. This is where decisions on how the curriculum will be structured overall, what are the key learning outcomes for the department, what does it want you as a graduate of English or medicine, what does it want you to take away from the University of Sheffield. You can ask the SSC if there is student representation in this group, and if not, you can be involved if you want to be. Similarly, across the year, various task groups might be set up. These task groups will be influencing things such as university program level approach, but they may also have a say on areas such as career development, employability, mental health provision, etc. You can get involved in those as and when, and you should ask your SSC to keep you updated on any of these task groups as they come up. From a more student-facing perspective, you could build your relationship with the academic society. Almost every department has an academic society. They're supposed to have a seat on the SSC, so the first thing you can do is make sure, are they actually invited to the SSC? And if they are, how are you collaborating with them? How could you build on that relationship? What opportunities for you two as groups to work together could exist this coming year to make sure that you get the most out of that working relationship? And lastly, you don't have to rely on your department to go to careers or 301. If you think you could benefit from a skills workshop, or you think that there's an event you'd like to run as a team of reps that would have good benefit by having the career service involved, get in touch with them. And if you're not sure how to do that, feel free to just get in touch with myself and my team at academicreps@sheffield.ac.uk. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about faculty level because unless you become a faculty rep, you don't really need to know too much about it. But it's important that you should reflect on what your role influences by nominating and electing your faculty representative or representatives. A faculty rep has a mandate to really be involved in 3 other subgroups alongside the FSSC. The first is faculty working groups, which operate in a very similar way to departmental ones, but rather than looking at, say, employability for just the English department, they'd be looking at employability outcomes for the whole of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, for example. Faculty Learning and Teaching Committee, again, is very similar. So this looks at learning outcomes and objectives for the whole of a faculty rather than just an individual department. This is particularly important for things like graduate attributes or how program level approach is being implemented at an absolute University of Sheffield wide level. Again, it mirrors departmental structures. There are also various other subcommittees that exist within faculties. So an example that most have is something called an Equality and Diversity Group, and that looks at the experience of BME students, how working class and underrepresented students are recruited to the faculty, and what provision could be put in place to support them. So if you were interested in those causes, or you were a BME international disabled student who wanted to have a louder say, then asking to be a part of the Equality and Diversity Group is something that could happen at the FSSC. And if you are a rep who wants to be involved in these issues anyway, don't feel like you can't be. you can always raise that question to the Faculty Student Staff Committee, and if there isn't anyone there that wants to be involved, maybe that's your chance. Now, the other aspect to consider is the institutional level. We have talked about in the past that at a basic structure in these purple boxes in the middle, you have your academic and faculty reps who feed into education committee, who feed into the education officer, who this year is Charlie Porter, and all of you influence the decision making. What's changing this year is that we want all three of these groups, so both our education officer, the committee, but then also you guys as academic and faculty reps, to be able to influence every single one of the main senior university committees. Because we believe that if you're interested and you want to have a say on university-wide learning and teaching, how programs and modules are actually approved at quality and scrutiny, or making sure that the ethics and integrity of the institution are upheld, that you have a chance to have a say on these things. These will come up through the Academic Rep newsletter, and you should see that as your chance to be involved. So again, that was quite light touch near the end, but the key thing to remember is this. By being involved in your departmental committee, you're influencing faculty committee decisions. Faculty committee decisions influence university committee decisions, and they all bleed back down. So what the university decides is the learning and teaching priority for the institution will then have to go to the faculty, who will translate it into context for the departments, who then enact it individually. And to go back to the last slide, you can have a say on all of these groups. So just because you're an academic rep, you don't have to become a faculty rep necessarily, or if you do want to become a faculty rep, you can take on a more senior role. There are a lot of options available to you. So have some time to reflect on that, see what you're interested in, and keep an eye out for opportunities via the newsletter, or get in touch at academicreps@sheffield.ac.uk. Thank you so much, and we'll see you this year.